What's up, Liron here, and after many requests, we're gonna flip through this book. What's up, Liron here. Thank you for joining me in another video. As I mentioned, today we're gonna flip through this book after many requests I got. So here's the backstory. I posted some pages from this book on my Instagram story, actually, and a lot of people have commented that they really loved the artwork. Okay, so this is what I want to share with you. This book isn't special to me. I didn't even know it until about a week ago. I visited a friend of mine, and his father has this huge library at home, and this was one of the books I picked because it has paintings in it. So I was like, this is interesting. So it's by a guy called Yehoshua ben Aryeh. The book is called The Painters and Paintings of the Land of Israel in the 19th Century. It just has really good art in it, and I want to show you this one in particular. And I shared this one in the Instagram story. It's just so good. So what we're gonna do is flip through some of the what I think are the best and most interesting paintings of this book. It has a lot of watercolors, which is what got me excited, because usually it's just oils and stuff like that. But this one has a lot of pencil, a lot of sketches, and a lot of watercolors, which is really cool. So we're just gonna flip through it. It's in Hebrew, so you're not gonna understand the text mostly. I'll try and translate. I got a few requests for this as well. So let me know if this kind of thing is interesting to you, and if it is, I'm gonna do more videos like this one, or just, more book flip throughs. So in any case, let's get started. Okay, so let's get started here. Once again, Yehoshua ben Aryeh, The Painters and Paintings of the Land of Israel in the 19th Century. So I went over it and bookmarked a few interesting places for us to look at. And I have to say, I was very pleasantly surprised. So here we have this kind of an introduction. I'm not going to go over everything, and we're going to run through many of the things just because there is so much to see. So here I thought I'd start with these small etchings. So this one says Kassas, Jerusalem, end of the 18th century, and I'm gonna hold it up to the camera just so you can better see some of the details. I think it's much better than zooming in and out all of the time. So this one this is one of the first ones I found really interesting, and this one as well. You can see here all of the level of details I find incredible. What I am going to do is just zoom a bit to cut the edges, and hopefully now at least we're as zoomed in as we can. These are a few beautiful ones. I loved these colorful ones, as well as this one. This one says it's gouache and watercolor, which is interesting. Many of these don't look, some of these don't, not many of these, but some of these don't look like the medium described. But in any case, I love the details on this one. Same goes for these ones. Really, really beautiful. The sense of light in many of these ones is just so good. Let's skip ahead a bit to the next one that I found interesting, which is this one. This is one of the best, I think, etches I've seen here. So it's just very good, and you could do the same. I'm not really familiar with, I believe it's called etching. I'm not familiar with the technique. I know there's a lot of it done when I was in France, in Paris. I saw many of these works. Also in the different gardens and sort of castles where there was some artwork, I saw a lot of these, and check this out. It's so beautiful. You could recreate the same thing just using pen and ink, and I really liked it. There's just really good sense of depth here. So in any case, let's move on because we have a lot to go look through. This I like, and the reason why I bookmarked it is because I really like unfinished work. Not in the sense of that it was unfinished, but just, you see, it's a pencil sketch, and you can see all of the perspective, and it's really good. So this one says the Grave Church. I'm sure it has a different name to it in English. I'm not familiar with it, from 1819. This was done again in pencil. There are also the names of the artists. Some of these I don't really know how to pronounce, so you'll have to excuse me for that. But I do have a few gems near the end. Okay, there are a few very interesting paintings near the end of this one. So here we have a pencil. This is tombs in the Ben Hinnom Valley, Kidron Valley, next to Jerusalem as well, close to Jerusalem. And I love this one because if you look really up close, you can see all of the cross-hatching here, and it's very gentle and it works really well. in my opinion. So just, we're kind of reviewing this artistically. This one as well, kind of similar to the etching one I showed you earlier. Very interesting, lots of values, sense of depth, the darkness into the distance. It's the inside of the Dome of the Rock, if that's how it's called. I'm never really sure. Again, the names I'm uncertain about. So there's this one's really good. Okay, these two really caught my attention. These are beautiful. So we have this one, it's lithography. I'm not even sure what that is, but and this is watercolor. And an additional medium, it says it was shined using white, kind of white shining. I'm not sure exactly what that is as well, but it gives us this burnt out look, which I really like actually. This one in particular, however, I do want you to see more up close because I just think it's so accurate and smart in the way these windows are expressed, and I think even the hour that the artist chose to portray this is so good with the diagonal lines here, the magical triangles. I just really love this one. Let's see what else. We have another really good one with the shadows and the arch. I love arches. They're always interesting to me, and they create this pathway and interest. This is really cool. So this isn't a painting or anything like that. It's actually a model, like a mini-sized miniature model of Jerusalem based on these years, 1872 and 1873. Just really interesting, and the topography stayed the same. The mountains, it's all the same, but the model does show what it was like in terms of the buildings, things like that. We have here another kind of a map. A beveled map, so it actually comes above the ground wherever that is, which is really cool. This is actually, it says in the English-German Institute of Research of the Holy Land, Jerusalem. So this is really interesting. Another good one. This is so different from the books I did flip through up until this point. Here we have some more interesting ones, black and white. That I really like. And up next, okay, so these two I really wanted to show you. Let me show you why, because I just love to see the process, and this is the plan for this one, which I love. And if you look at these two together, you can see this, and I just find these things fascinating too. Anything that helps me get into the mind of the artist and see things the way they saw it, this is really, it's even more than that. This is a gold mine. If you can find processes that show you the start and finish, or the planning, things like this, I really enjoy, and I think it's just a very interesting thing to see. This is why I like raw sketches, unfinished work a lot. So, I guess, by the way, these are two different artists, which is amazing in my opinion, because it's the exact same scene, kind of the exact same angle almost, but still just beautifully executed. Let's see what else we've got here. Okay, so this is really cool because this is the first watercolor I was able to recognize in this book. I haven't really looked at the medium, and then I was like, oh, this is watercolor. And it's funny because what gave it away was actually the way these washes are done here. And if you look up close, you can see how there's a very thin, darker line around the wash, which is a really strong characteristic of a watercolor. So really like this one. Let me show it to you again up close in its entirety and all the people, and it's just really interesting. This is the entrance to the grave, how would you call it, church or cathedral, I'm not sure. But in any case, yeah, this is pencil and watercolor. This one's really interesting as well. I liked it too, the kind of vibe that it has. Let's see what else we got here. I really liked it because it is watercolor as well. And if you look up close, you can see this. You can tell that this is a wash because, again, it has this thin, darker line around it. And because it's monochrome, it's black and white. This is what attracted me to it so much. It's just a variety, and it's interesting. And the more it looks like it was a part of a planning process, the more I fall in love with it. And if you notice here, there are very gentle clouds, very gentle mountains in the background. So just a beautiful piece of work, in my opinion. Hopefully you can see well with the light. I don't know why it's a bit weird right now. It's kind of in between hour. Here we have two other watercolors. Some of these were done kind of mixed media, so they added some more to them. But I found this one I like a lot, especially the mountains here. This is the Santa Catarina. Forgot the word for it. Like monastery. Yeah, monastery. Okay, it took me a while. So Santa Caterina on Mount Sinai, the monastery. Beautiful, beautiful work. Let's see what else we got here. And again, I'm gonna have a few really interesting artists in the next few examples. So here we have the another one. So this is, I think, water-soluble ink, which I found fascinating. This says it's the Tomb of Maryam, so I'm not really sure about it. Just really interesting. I'm not that good with history, so I don't want to say stuff that I don't know anything about, so I'm just translating it to you as is. Plus, I don't know if this is accurate to begin with. So this is a watercolor. The reason I included this one, I wanted to show it to you, was because I'm really not sure how this was achieved. It doesn't really look like watercolor, at least not what you see today. Looks maybe more like oil or gouache, so that's fairly interesting. Maybe they were just used opaque. It's really hard to tell. And now we're getting to the good stuff. I wanted you to see this one. This is oil on canvas. But it's just so good that I felt like I wanted to show it to you. The figures, if you look at the details here on the legs and the cloth here, it's really beautiful. I like a more impressionistic style personally, and you will see something similar later on. But still, I can really appreciate this kind of style as well. Next up, okay, here we have a few other pencil sketches and watercolor. This one's watercolor. And this one is a pencil sketch. If you want to look at anything longer, just pause the video. Okay, I hope I give you a good enough view of everything. This is really interesting. This I like a lot. Just the strong contrast and the light. This is sunset. It actually says sunset in front of the Harabite. I don't know again how to call that. This is watercolor and gouache on paper. So. Just beautiful, beautiful, very atmospheric. Oh, my alarm goes off. Very atmospheric painting that I like a lot from 1854. So another really good one. So next up we have this one, and this is actually a scene from Nazareth, which is cool, from 1851. So a very important place in the human history, I suppose. Watercolor and pencil. I like the way these rocks were done, with the light on them and the walls and everything. It's been simplified significantly. I think these are cacti plants. So this is really cool. And these ones are really good. So this is all this is oil, but still a really beautiful. I mean, not but still, but I'm just really excited for the watercolors. So these two. Okay, now we're getting to the really good stuff. So you can see here, this one I found amazing. It's called the Gate of Cotton in Jerusalem. So I'm not sure what that place is. Let me show you an even more up close look. Here we go. If I didn't mention something or a name of the painting or the place or the artist and you're curious about it, so ask me and I'll figure it out. I'll reply to the comment. This is another interesting one. Again, watercolor. This one doesn't look like watercolor, but it says that it is. So I found that one really interesting as well. Here, okay, these are really cute because it's just sketches, and I love sketches. It actually says sketches of people and faces in Jerusalem. So imagine the artist sitting somewhere and just drawing these quick sketches of people walking by. And the cool thing about it is that you have a really authentic documentation of what people looked like. You can't make it up as much because it looks like these were quick, very accurate and beautiful, but still quick, hopefully, because it's what I like the most. So you can tell that the artist really captured what they saw, which I find fascinating because it really is a window through time to what people wore back then and how they dress in their clothes and everything. So really, really interesting as well. Next up, we have these two watercolors that I find really beautiful as well because it's watercolor and it's such a high level execution, I guess on a technical level. Check it out. It's really good. I don't get to see a lot of watercolors that look like this these days. Here's another one with look at the kind of carpets here at the top. These tarps, just beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, I had to show you these ones, the light, the way it casts, and the person praying. This is really beautiful. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so this is the one I showed you earlier. These two are beautiful. This one, let's start with that, because this is the real treat. This is, in my opinion, one of the most impressive works of this book. It just has so much in it, and it is watercolor. So this is in Jaffa. It's just it says Street View in Jaffa, 1890, by an artist called Bauernfeind, I think, from Sotheby, London. So this is just a really, really good one. Again, trying to balance showing you who the artist is and showing you the painting. Let me show you a bit of a more up-close look at it. There's everything just works really well here. There's a good sense of light, depth, interesting colors. It looks really realistic. I love it. And this is really what it probably looked like, or at least very similar to it. And I wonder how the artist made it, because it's, I don't know, like, do you work inside a studio? These are all very interesting things to me. How artists worked throughout the years, and if they changed things around, you know, people work differently, like the Renaissance works. I wonder, just because, you know, back then, I don't think anyone took a picture. I mean, this, well, I don't really know when people started taking pictures, but there are so many paintings that predated the camera, and so it just makes you think about how they had to actually get the person standing there, and the view shifts and the light shifts, which is incredible. So here's another one, just really good. The paint, the color selection is really incredible. Look at the sky especially, it's so vibrant. I hope it will come through the camera, because here, if I go really zoomed in, you may be able to see all the nuances. So just amazing. From afar, it looks just like a picture. The sky is very stylized in a way that I like. All kinds of colors you don't normally see in the sky. I suppose, at least not together, which I like. Let's see what else we have here. So these are just different chapters, and each one of them focuses on a different type of work or aspect. So here, I bookmarked this one just because it's the first marine scene that we saw, that we see here. So I think that one of the first ones that I really liked it. Well, I don't necessarily like the way it looks over others, but I just like the fact that we finally have a scene at the sea. This is the bombardment of Akko on the 3rd of November, 1840. Okay, this is watercolor as well, which is really impressive. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, this is a real treat, and I don't know if you can tell by what artist this was made, but this is actually a Sargent painting. Both of these are Sargent paintings. So the upper one is oils, and the lower one is watercolor. So if you look at this one, this is really fascinating. It's everything I like about Impressionistic art. I'm gonna just zoom in a bit so you can better see. So again, just beautiful simplification, a lot of smudges and smears of paint, the use of green, kind of turquoise, green blue, everywhere. He really creates an interesting look, an interesting sense of light and shadow. This is next to the Olive Mountain, Har HaZeitim. It's actually a place, I don't know how you'd call it in English, but I guess Olive Mountain. I don't know what to say more about this one. It's beautiful, and the palette is quite minimal. If you'll notice, the sky is very similar to the ground, but it just provides this fascinating sense of light, atmosphere, the hour of the day. It does seem like there was strong sunlight, but maybe it's sunset, maybe it's sunrise, I'm not sure. Just beautiful. Let me show you some more of the details a little up close. Hopefully the camera will refocus in terms of the colors and lights. Beautiful. And then we have this watercolor, which is very... I saw a lot of watercolors of Sargent that look similar to this. Whenever he has to simplify stuff, uses a lot of rough, kind of smudgy lines, which I like. It looks kind of like a cemetery to me, I don't know why, but I'm not sure if that's really what it is. Usually you see these types of, it seems like there's a gate here and this type of rock for the floors, and maybe, I don't know exactly what it is. It says Gatchamna, I don't know exactly where that is. Let's see what else we've got here. Okay, so a few sketches. Again, I love sketches, so we've got this one. We're really close to finishing this, and just a few more. Hopefully it still captivates your interest. This is a very interesting one. It looks like it may have had some white in it. So I'm not sure if there's white over colored paper or not here. It's a bit hard for me to tell, but it could be the case. And notice how simplified the scene is, just beautiful. Now let's see what else we've got here. Another pencil sketch, which I like a lot. Oh, so this is by Brabazon, I believe the artist's name is, or Barbazon, I never remember. Brabazon. This is Jericho. In 1858 or 1860. This is a pencil. It says watercolor as well, probably for the gray tones. And it says here Jericho, so in his handwriting, which is really interesting. And again, very simplified. This was how he used to do his work, Brabazon. I saw a few of his works, and this is a really good representation of it. I saw the paintings, not the sketches, but still very interesting. So in any case, with that, we will wrap it up. This is one of my favorites here, and the other one would have to be the watercolor that I showed you earlier. This one. So these two are my top favorites. And I'm curious to hear your opinion about this book, what you thought of this one. If there was one painting that really stood out for you, you can mark the timestamp and let me know. I'm actually really curious to hear your comments about this particular video. Let me know what you think. And I'm now going to change the angle and properly wrap up this video, so let's do that. So this is it for today, a really interesting book, as you see. If I come across more interesting books like this one, regardless of if they're in Hebrew or in English, I'll try and share. Let me know what you thought of this one in particular, if you just enjoy the book flip-throughs, and also if you enjoy the fact that it was in Hebrew. I know some people, I don't know, some people may be deterred by it, some people may enjoy it even more. So let me know what you think. I do have a few other books I want to show you, like this one, for example, Architectural Details. This is, it says, a visual guide to 5,000 years of building styles, and it actually has so much cool stuff in it. If I just open any random page, has really cool sketches in it, and really complex ones as well, as you'll see in the future. And because you know I love buildings and architecture so much, sorry for the ambulance siren, because I like architecture and buildings so much, I just thought I'd pick this one up as well, and it proved to be a really good one. So in any case, I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know in the comment below what you think and if you want to see more of these, and I will see you again in another video real soon.